Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's on Red Eyes. So I had to spend a few days on this one because compared to Blue Eyes, I don't play Red Eyes quite as much. But I also wanted to try out a few things, like try out some new tech options, how to best make it as competitive as I could. Because I always found Blue Eyes the better pick of the two. But Red Eyes can be pretty menacing if you can play it correctly, and I think I might have figured out how I can go around it. Because again, it's not really a strategy I tend to focus on too much. And yeah, it's just like it's a little weird because I guess because Red Eyes does have a few consistency issues. But again, if you can do everything correctly, you should do just fine with it. And yeah, figured I'd just show you guys what I got, and let's go and get started. So main deck is 40 cards, starting with, of course, 3 copies of Red Eyes Black Dragon. So obviously you're going to want to run 3 copies of this guy simply because, he is one of your main monsters. And it just helps you get everything going. So, and it's a level 7 monster, and that's going to be a key importance for this strategy. 1 Dark Magician, because, you are running Dragoon, obviously. For the bunch of one-ofs, actually, I'm playing 1 copy of Alternative Black Dragon. I was playing 2 last time, but I decided to settle for just 1 because to summon them out, you have to tribute a Red Eyes in order to summon it. I wish it had the same conditions as the original Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, where you just reveal into special, but that's not the case with this card. But he's mostly just like another way to get another monster out, and just to get Red Eyes into your graveyard. Of course, it does allow you to tribute from hand, so that is something. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your graveyard except itself, special summon it, and if it was Red Eyes Black Dragon, its original attack points become double. So that's pretty good just to help bring out a big body. Next, 1 Black Flare Dragon. So it's a Gemini monster, which is kind of dumb, but whatever. But one cool thing about it is that you can normal summon it as an effect monster, and it also during damage calculation of this, if damage calculation is performed involving this card at the end of the battle phase, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's original attack point. So it's just a good way to get burn damage down. But again, it's just a level 7 monster that you can basically just go into some rank 7 place. 1 Darkness Metal Dragon, which thankfully does have a holo printing, and I actually have one along the way in the mail. But, it's a monster reborn for dragons, so why not? Playing 1 copy of Neo Kaiser Glider. I'm playing this over the other Red Ice level 6 monster simply because I just feel like this one has a better effect where it's basically a monster reborn as well. Discard itself plus another dragon. And also if it's sent to the graveyard, your opponent's monsters that they currently control lose 500 attack points. So it's okay, but overall you mostly just want to use it for the monster reborn of a normal monster. So yeah, I figured why not. Moving on, 3 copies of Black Metal Dragon. So you can target 1 Red Eyes monster you control, equip this card from your hand or to the field, and it gains 600 attack points. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand. So it searches out any Red Eyes card. Now, of course, it has to be on the field first, so I forgot to mention that part, so I apologize. So yeah, pretty good. 2 Black Stone Legend. So you can tribute this card to summon a Red Eyes or level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, except Red Eyes beat check. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, shuffle it back into your deck, and if you do, you can add this card back to your hand. You can only use 1 of its effects per turn and only once a turn, so just bear that in mind. For more one-ofs, 1 Gearfried, just so you can get into Red Eyes Slash Dragon. Red Eyes Wyvern, since you're going to be pitching this off mostly with Red Eyes Insight. And for my utility cards, I'm actually running 3 copies of Noctovision Dragon. So if a Dark Dragon type monster is special summon, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is in your graveyard and your opponent targets 1 of your face down cards, you can banish this card from the grave and negate the effect. And also I like it because if it's used as link material, you can draw 1 card. So yeah, Noctovision's not too bad. Alright, so now moving on. 1 copy of Tempest as my final utility card. And just to get the rest of my monsters out of here, the only hand trap I'm running is 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Now, you might be wondering why this over Impermanence. Well, you'll see why in just a moment. So, until then, yeah, 3 Veiler is what I'm going with right now. And, yeah. Alright, so that's it for monsters. I believe that was 22. So now we're moving on to spells. For spells, 3 copies of Red Eyes Insight. So, basically, this is your searcher. You dump a Red Eyes from your hand or deck to the grave to add another Red Eyes spell or trap. Next, 3 copies of Red Eyes Fusion. That's one of the most broken spell cards of the deck, so yeah. I am running 1 Magical Ice Fusion just to go with it, since I do run 2 Dragoons, so spoilers. Moving on. 2 copies of Dragon Shrine. It's a Foolish Burial, so you send a normal monster and you can send an additional dragon monster, so just keep that in mind. So it's a good way to get Tempest into the graveyard a little faster too. For draw power, running 2 copies of Allure Darkness. I was thinking of Sacred Sword, but I felt like Allure Darkness was just slightly more flexible for this strategy. So that's why I'm sticking to 2. And the only reason I'm sticking to 2 is because I wanted to make room for these. 2 copies of Triple T. So you already know what comes next. It's Pot of Greed, Forceful Sentry, or Brain Control. And of course, 1 Called by the Grave. And of course, for my revival spell, 1 copy of Monster Reborn, just because it comes in clutch whenever it needs to. And then for the only traps I'm running, 1 copy of Red Eyes Fang with Chain, 1 Return of the Red Eyes, and of course, Red Eye Spirit, which in case if you happen to lose your Dragoon, you can always bring it back, or just something else if you need to go that route. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the extra deck. For my extra deck, naturally I'm going to start off with 2 copies of the main guy, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Of course, you could run 1 if you wanted to. Honestly, you don't actually have to run this at 2. I decided to run 2 just so I can have multiple win conditions. 1 Meteor Black Comet Dragon, which thankfully got a reprint. 1 Red Eye Slash Dragon. And for the Xyz monsters, I'm running 2 copies of Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. So this basically forces your opponent to, spend a lot of life points just to activate their effects. And also can bring back your Red Eyes monsters too, so that's not too bad. Now the newest tech of this deck is actually number 89, Diablosis the Mind Hacker. So for those who are not familiar with this card, this just got a reprint in Brothers of Legend. And it was originally a championship card, yes. And so let me read what this card does. It just requires 2 level 7 monsters, so it's pretty generic for this deck. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, look at your opponent's extra deck, and banish 1 monster from it face down. That is insane. Now, this is where it gets even crazier. At the end of the battle phase, if this card destroyed a monster by battle, you can target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it face down. If a card your opponent owns and possesses is banished face down while you control this card, except during the damage step, you can banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck face down equal to their face down banished cards. So effectively, first you get to banish 1 card out of their extra deck face down. That's crazy. So that's a good way to get rid of cards like DPE, so Destroy Phoenix Enforcer for those who don't know what that means. Or like if you need to snipe an ace monster out of your opponent's extra deck, like Axis Code too. Yeah, that's a start. And then, of course, if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you get to banish something from their graveyard face down. So, starting with just the 2 cards by themselves, you get to mill the top 2 cards of their deck face down. That is crazy good. And you can only use this effect of number 89 once per turn. So, yeah, that's pretty nuts. Of course, you do have to detach 1 material whenever you do the extra deck thing. But, again, that's not bad considering it just gets rid of so much when you really think about it. So yeah, number 89 is definitely something to look into. All right, so moving on to the Link monsters already. I'm running 1 copy of Almirage since, I do run a few monsters with less than 1,000 attack points. 1 Link Kurio since I do have quite a few level 1s. 1 Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. Of course, you got to go with the 1 Verity Anaconda. Now, this is where why I was running Effect Veilers more than Imperms. I'm running Halki Firebrex, and to go along with this package, I actually am running 1 Selene, since, Effect Veiler is a spellcaster, so you can go Halki Firebrex, summon the Effect Veiler, go into Selene, and of course, 1 Axis Code Talker. So, yeah, I had to do it. Come on, you saw this coming. And just as a bonus tech, 1 BLS. So, figured why not. Alright, so that's it for the extra deck. Now, for the side deck, it's a little different. The side deck, I decided to go with 3 copies of Godarla. Now, the reason I'm running this is because of Bird Up. Bird Up is probably one of the best decks right now, especially because, it can lock you into, with a Barrier Statue or just bring out an Apex Evian. So, I figured Godarla was one of the best side cards for this deck because, again, it's I don't want to be locked out from, special summoning. So, Godarla I figured was the best card to go with. And for any Search Heavy strategy, 3 copies of Drone Lockbird, 3 Dark Ruler No More, triple Twin Twisters, which actually I'm probably going to switch those out with Cosmic Cyclones. 2 Ice Dragon's Prison, comes in handy whenever you really need it to. Just depends on the matchup. And of course, for more back row heavy strategies, 1 Red Reboot. Alright, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.